Hey, first let me explain the background. I'm in the high school where I teach, so of course we would have something like this. Be you, be grateful, be different, be unique, be generous, be trustworthy. So, we've got that out of the way. It's summertime. I have loved bicycles since I was a kid. I have a shirt on today, Go Buy Bike. So the focus of my story is a nice bicycle story. But there is some depth to it. Join me today on Time for All Ages. Many years ago, when my son, who is now a full-grown man with 3 children, when he was a boy, about 8 or 10, I lived in a house that had a hill in front of it, and he was on his bicycle, and I was sitting inside one day studying, and I saw him coming down the hill, and he clearly did not have control of the bicycle. His eyes were wide open, and he was just sort of down the hill. So I ran out and I caught him right before he ran into a fence. That is a little bit of a foreshadowing of something that will happen in today's story. Mulga Bill's bicycle. Mulga Bill thinks he can ride a bicycle. Oh, how funny. This comes from storyberries.com, which is out of Australia. And for fun, I actually looked up some of the things that are in the story, and I will show you some pictures so we'll get some education about Australia. The author is Banjo Patterson, who was a bush poet way back from Australia. So let's take a look at Mulga Bill's bicycle. It's a poem. There really is a place called Eaglehawk. It's a town in Australia, in Victoria, I believe. 'Twas Mulga Bill from Eaglehawk that caught the cycling craze. He turned away the good old horse that served him many days. He dressed himself up in cycling clothes, resplendent to be seen. He hurried off to town and bought a shining new machine. So the dude's getting all dressed up. He's dismissed his horse. He's going to buy a brand new bicycle. And as he wheeled it through the door with air of lordly pride, I told you that one of the themes seems to be humility. He's prideful. The grinning shop assistant said, "Excuse me, can you ride?" "See here, young man," said Mulga Bill, "from Walgett to the sea, from Conroy's Gap to Castle Row, there's none can ride like me. I'm good all round at everything, as everybody knows. Although I'm not the one to talk, I hate a man that blows." I think that's meant to be ironic. I think this is, Australian, so some of their terminology is different from ours. But I think here he is bragging about how great he is. And I think what that phrase, "I hate a man that blows," means, I hate a person who brags on himself. Let's continue. "But riding is my special gift, my chiefest soul delight. Just ask a wild duck, can it swim? A wildcat, can it fight? There's nothing clothed in hair or hide or built of flesh or steel. There's nothing walks or jumps or runs on axle, hoof, or wheel. But what I'll sit, while hide will hold and girths and straps are tight, I'll ride this here two-wheeled concern right straight away at sight." I do a lot of poetry explication with my students. It's a good way to learn some critical thinking skills. I think, I might be wrong, I wish I was with you so you could give me your perspective, but I think he's saying, dude, I got this. I will hop on this thing and I will ride it like nobody's business. Just get out of my way. 'Twas Mulga Bill from Eaglehawk that sought his own abode. What's an abode? It's his house. So he went to his own house that perched above Dead Man's Creek beside the mountain road. Dead Man's Creek is a real place in Australia. And again, I wonder, is that foreshadowing Dead Man's Creek? Let's keep going. He turned the cycle down the hill and mounted for the fray. So he's on his bicycle going downhill. He's taken off, but ere he'd gone a dozen yards, it bolted clean away. It left the track and through the trees just like a silver steak. Steak, maybe that's a typo. Streak sounds right. It left the track and through the trees just like a silver streak. It whistled down the awful slope, going really, really fast toward the Dead Man's Creek. Remember, this is a guy who said, hey, everybody, check it out. I can ride a bike like crazy. It shaved a stump by half an inch. It dodged a big white box. The very wallaroos in fright went scrambling up the rocks. The wombats hiding in their caves dug deeper underground as Mulga Bill, as white as chalk, set tight to every bound. It struck a stone and gave a spring that cleared a fallen tree. Let me tell you, as a bicyclist, for real, if you're going really, really fast downhill, all it takes is some little thing, some rock, some little crack, some root that can really throw you off, and that's what happens. It struck a stone and gave a spring that cleared a fallen tree. It raced beside a precipice as close could be. And then, as Mulga Bill let out one last despairing shriek, it made a leap of 20 feet into the Dead Man's Creek. Last stanza. 'Twas Mulga Bill from Eaglehawk that slowly swam ashore. So he's not dead. He swam ashore. He said, I've had some narrow shaves and lively rides before. I've rode a wild bull round a yard to win a 5-pound bet. But this was the most awful ride that I've ever encountered yet. I'll give that two-wheeled outlaw best. It's shaken all my nerve to feel it whistle through the air and plunge and buck and swerve. It's safe at rest in Dead Man's Creek. In other words, he just left that bicycle in the bottom of the creek. It's safe at rest in Dead Man's Creek. We'll leave it lying still. A horse's back is good enough henceforth for Mulga Bill. Hey, get out there, ride a bike, have some fun, watch those hills. Have a really good week.